Today, we step into one of the most heartbreaking chapters, the stories of American female celebrities whose lives were quietly and tragically claimed by drug overdoses. These were not gentle endings. They were sudden and devastating moments where private pain, relentless pressure, and hidden struggles overwhelmed bright spirits, shattering dreams, families, and entire communities. In this video, we remember the women whose lives were cut short by addiction and overdose. Margot Hemingway, the beloved American model and actress who brought glamour, vulnerability, and a quiet strength to audiences in films like Lipstick, passed away on July 1, 1996, at the age of just 42. Her end was deeply tragic. After years of fighting depression, addiction, and the heavy expectations of her famous family name, she was discovered lifeless in her small Santa Monica apartment from an overdose of barbiturate pills. In the days before her death, she had seemed fragile and withdrawn, canceling plans and speaking of being exhausted. When she didn't answer her phone for several days, a family member went to check on her and found her body. Investigators learned she had ingested a large quantity of prescription sedatives, and the coroner ruled it a suicide, a heartbreaking echo of the same kind of self-destruction that had claimed her grandfather Ernest Hemingway and other relatives. Born Margot Louise Hemingway on February 16, 1954, in Portland, Oregon, she spent much of her childhood between Oregon and Idaho, a tall, athletic, outdoorsy girl who loved horses and swimming, and who changed the spelling of her name to Margot after learning she had been named for a French wine. By her early 20s, she had become one of the most recognizable faces in the world, and the first model to land a $1 million contract, fronting Faberge's Babe perfume and appearing on the covers of Vogue, Time, and Cosmopolitan. Hoping to move beyond the runway, she made her film debut in 1976 in Lipstick, playing a fashion model fighting back against a predator, a role that reflected both her beauty and her vulnerability, and followed with parts in Killer Fish, Over the Brooklyn Bridge, and other projects. Yet behind the cameras, she struggled with bulimia, alcoholism, epilepsy, and repeated spells in rehab, trying again and again to rebuild her career and health. By the mid-1990s, she was taking small film roles, working on documentaries, and talking about launching a wildlife adventure series that would take her back to the outdoors she loved. Her sudden death cut short those plans, leaving behind a legacy of a woman who dazzled the world with her looks and courage, but who fought a private battle with pain, and who is still remembered for her grace, openness, and the light she tried to share despite her struggles. Dana Plato, the beloved American television actress who brought tenderness, vulnerability, and a quiet charm to millions of viewers as Kimberly Drummond on the hit sitcom Diff'rent Strokes, passed away on May 8, 1999, at the heartbreakingly young age of 34. Her final hours were filled with a strange mixture of hope and exhaustion. Only one day earlier, she had gone on the Howard Stern show to speak about her life, her sobriety, and her dreams of making a comeback. But on that Mother's Day weekend, while stopping in Moore, Oklahoma with her fiancé Robert Mankaka to visit his family, Dana said she wasn't feeling well and lay down inside their motor home parked outside the house. She took several doses of a strong prescription painkiller along with a muscle relaxant she had been given after a recent dental surgery, a combination known to slow breathing and overwhelm the body. Hours later, she was discovered unresponsive, and although at first it seemed like a tragic accident, the medical examiner ruled it a suicide, citing her long history of addiction and previous attempts to end her life. Born Dana Michelle Strain on November 7, 1964, in Maywood, California, she was adopted as a baby by Dean and Kay Plato and raised mostly by her mother in the San Fernando Valley after her parents divorced when she was 3. A bright and energetic child, she trained in figure skating and appeared in hundreds of commercials before even reaching her teens. At just 13, she faced a choice between pursuing Olympic-level skating or acting in a new sitcom. She chose acting and soon became a household name as Kimberly, the loving and relatable sister of Arnold and Willis, winning award nominations and the hearts of audiences everywhere. But away from the cameras, the pressures of sudden fame, family turmoil, and easy access to drugs began to erode her stability. After becoming pregnant with her only son Tyler in 1984, she was written out of Diff'rent Strokes and spent the following years trying to reinvent herself through independent films, television movies, a controversial Playboy shoot, and even a pioneering role in the video game Night Trap. Yet personal tragedies, the death of her mother, losing custody of her son, financial betrayal by an accountant, arrests for robbery and forging prescriptions, weighed heavily on her. By the time of her death, she was living quietly in a motorhome, hoping for a new start. Her passing not only cut short the life of a woman who had once lit up America's living rooms, but also left a painful legacy that continued when her son Tyler died by suicide in 2010. Dana Plato's story remains both a memory of the bright, gentle girl we watched grow up on screen, and a cautionary tale about the toll of fame on a young, unprotected soul. Judy Garland, the beloved American actress and singer who brought warmth, magic, and extraordinary emotional depth to generations of audiences, passed away on June 22, 1969, at the age of 47. Her death was one of the most heartbreaking and public losses the entertainment world had ever seen. After decades of relentless schedules, failed marriages, financial turmoil, and a lifelong dependence on pills that MGM itself had first given her as a teenager to keep her thin and awake, Judy had been trying to start over in London with her new husband Mickey Deans. In the days before her death, she seemed tired but hopeful, still performing small concerts and planning future work. In the early hours of that Sunday morning, she went into the bathroom of their rented home in Chelsea and did not come out. When her husband finally forced open the door, he found her collapsed on the floor. And despite frantic efforts, nothing could be done. The coroner later concluded that she had died from an incautious self-overdosage of barbiturates, not a deliberate act, but a slow buildup of sleeping pills in a body already weakened by years of exhaustion, malnutrition, and stress, explaining that she had taken a normal dose the night before, but her liver simply could no longer process it. It was a lonely, quiet end for a woman whose voice had once lifted the world. Born Frances Ethel Gum on June 10, 1922, in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, Judy began performing with her sisters at the age of 2, billed as the Gum Sisters. Her powerful contralto and natural stage presence led MGM to sign her at 13, and by 16 she gave the world one of its most iconic performances as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, her voice soaring through Over the Rainbow and capturing both innocence and longing. Over the next 2 decades, she proved her brilliance again and again in films like Meet Me in St. Louis, Easter Parade, and A Star is Born, earning an Oscar nomination and the devotion of millions. But behind the dazzling smile was a young woman constantly battling studio demands, mental health struggles, and the addictions she never chose. Even as she rebuilt her career with concerts and television specials, the pressures and pills never fully let her go. Her sudden death at just 47 left fans devastated, yet Judy Garland's legacy still shines. A performer whose vulnerability, courage, and once-in-a-lifetime talent made her one of the most loved and unforgettable stars in entertainment history.